And we're live, episode. Whoa, I sound very, very loud, don't I? But RIP someone's headphones right now. They're just gonna be like, whoa. So yeah, episode number 16. We have made it officially. Every week we're like, whoa, we've done another episode. So thank you guys for the support, love. Any questions, subscribe as well, by the way, at the bottom. Leave us a review, comment, whatever. It's not YouTube, but you can still leave us a comment, I believe. This week we're going to dive deep into a couple of our stories as we normally would. We're going to start with supplements, and let's go with a supplement you've taken previously, maybe 5-10 years ago. You thought it's going to change your life, but in reality you look back on it now and you're like, what was I doing? Let's start with M on this one.
Well, I don't have too many stories, but like I've taken some. Okay, actually, I have a story.
There you go. I don't have a story. Oh yeah, actually, I do have a story.
So I mean, there was a time in my life when I used to take some pre-workout stuff, right? And this guy in my old gym, this is before I was a PT as well, I think, and he just comes up to me. It's like, yeah, I created my own pre-workout. You should try it. And I did. And I was vomiting. It was not a good story. Like, it didn't turn out really well. My session had to cut short, so I didn't make the gains that I was hoping for. He just literally came like in a sachet.
So technically it wasn't pre-workout, was it? It was something else.
Sniff it?
No, I didn't sniff it.
Okay. Did your mouth go numb when you drank it?
No, it came on like half an hour later, just like
at least it wasn't cocaine.
Stomach, so it definitely wasn't that.
Yeah, this is your pre-workout, by the way.
Yeah, you just pre-workout, sniff this and go.
Yeah, but my old gym where I used to train, I mean, there was a lot of dodgy stuff happening around there, So, but it was good. It was a good time. But I think that would be my story, because otherwise I haven't taken a lot of like crazy supplements, I think.
What's one that you did follow the trend? Let's say, there was a couple of years ago, there's some, I don't know, I wouldn't say supplements, but like there would always be something that you'd follow like a trend with, or you'd try at least.
GDAs.
Say again?
GDAs.
What's that?
Glucose disposal agents.
No.
Like like you take black licorice root,
yeah.
Or dandelion stuff to dehydrate you, or like.
Oh, but I still do that because I think it's fucking delicious. So I'm still
you're
living that life.
Thing, right?
Yeah. I'm living my best life on licorice and dandelion tea, So yeah, I'm on that trend. It's great. I mix my dandelion with some fenugreek tea as well. So I have 2 bags in one, Yeah.
Dandelion root was like one of those things that you got at the end of prep. Well, in a supplement that would just end up being like the thing that you would try and use to dehydrate you, or like kind of get that extra lean look. In reality, I just needed to lose another 5 kilos.
Still cheating on your diet by then, and also
dandelion root is going to make all the difference right now. It's going to solve the whole problem of me not being able to do the anything with dieting. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take this dandelion root, and everything's going to look better on the day. And then all end up happening is, I felt dehydrated, but then that was it. Like spitting feathers for a day, and that was it.
Yeah.
What's the worst one you've taken, Nate? Like in terms of something that you believed in, but you look back on it now and you're like, Jesus Christ, did I really believe in that, or did I really take that?
Oh, I think I wasn't a massive supplement guy. I am more supplement guy now than I was ever. But I only take the stuff that actually really affects me. But I think like GDAs, where it's like, if I take this supplement, it's going to reduce my glucose levels. Therefore, I can justify having 2 donuts instead of 1, because it will then reduce my level of insulin, which will then reduce the fat gain. And that didn't really ever work. So I think GDA is anything like it's like a carb blocker. Like you get them from Holland and Barrett, so it's like carb blocker. That's what the premises of those. You?
I would actually say something that probably apple cider vinegar. Like.
But I'm on that trend still.
That's the thing. I'm not seeing anyone else do that now recently. Apart from you just saying that right now. Like most people, I guess maybe I'm out of the world kind of thing with the whole supplement side of that side. But I remember 2017, there was a period where in the summer, it was huge. And I was like, what is this hype? Let me try it. And I was like, this is fucking nasty, by the way. But it's like, I've not had it since. I've actually got a whole bottle that I've not used since like 2018
Yeah,
in my kitchen.
use it for dressings, man. Like I think we want to take away like what is a supplement and what is a food, because apple cider vinegar is like a food, right? You don't have to.
Yeah, true. But it's used as a
Like I did
supplement.
actually. I used to chug down like a tablespoon before every meal. Like I did that too. I forgot about that. So I've done all of those as well too. But now I just use it in a salad and it's delicious and it's a good prebiotic and it's good for your gut and just have it naturally. Don't just have it before you eat.
I haven't had it since 2017. Not gonna lie, it was a weird period. And then it was one of those periods where you're like, yeah, let me try this. And then you do it for like 6 weeks. And that was it. And anyone who came in and bought apple cider vinegar as well was, I've heard it will help me lose body fat. They'll come and get the same bottle again, look exactly the same 6 months later. And you're thinking, what happened to the fat loss? Yes, working. That's what they'll say, literally.
There must be a bottle of apple cider vinegar in most Gujarati households.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
There's one auntie or one bar that goes into Holland and Barrett and is like, yeah, I need this because this is what's gonna help me lose weight. It's gonna reduce down the amount of spicy food that I eat or whatever it is, right?
No, you know what it was?
Washing down a samosa with an apple cider vinegar shot.
Nate, you know what it was? We're Indians, we love WhatsApp. And I know loads of Indians listening to right now, they know what I'm talking about, which is that whole WhatsApp chain when it gets forwarded. And they believe that as like their PubMed, right? So they think, oh my God, this is gospel, this is research. My mom does this to this day. She'll send me someone who talks about something about COVID and how dangerous it is or whatever. And she'll be like, look, you need to watch this video. She'll forward me the video. And I'm like, it's a 6-minute video. I'm not watching a 6-minute video about, it's not even scientific or anything like that. It's just, but they believe that. I remember when I was working on Holland & Barrett, they had like a whole batch. They were like, yeah, we just need to bring in apple cider vinegar because it's selling out. Obviously Harrow as well at the same time. You got to think about it. And literally, you're right. It was just the Asian auntie who'd come in, I'm going to lose weight. This is like the pinnacle of like me being the next version, basically. No joke. And I'm looking back on it now. I'm thinking, how the hell did I fall into that trend? You literally just get into it and you're like, yeah, you know what? These Asian aunties may be right. They may be something to this. But yeah,
they pick up the. I've just been very observant. I've never worked in Holland about like yourself, but I've been very observant. Is like they pick up the apple cider vinegar and then go to like the nut section, pick up the biggest bag of cashews or hazelnuts or whatever it is, and then maybe wash it down with a bit of flaxseed, and then maybe like some joint health stuff, and then that's it. They're done with Holland & Barrett. That's their weekly shop, and then
glucosamine is like their top.
Glucosamine for joints. That's one that I've utilized when I was younger because of my knee, and then I realized it had very, very little effect on the ability to improve more synovial fluid, unless it's like very, 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 very good stuff. But you don't really find that in Holland & Barrett.
But the thing is, Holland & Barrett used to be so funny because they used to have like chocolate nuts, for example, right? And it would be just hilarious. It would just be like, you got like a health thing one way, but then at the same time, you're right. Like someone would be like, okay, this is the pinnacle for me, the supplement. I'm also going to grab like, chocolate nuts over here. It'll be like
ginger.
Oh my Lord. That was like the most famous thing in the world, right? I'm thinking, what's the hype here? They're like, yeah, it just doesn't, it's going to help me with this. And you're thinking, it's still 500 calories for this whole pack or maybe more. But that's like supplements in a nutshell, right? When you think about it.
Yeah, but they hook you in. That supplements hook you in without the price point, but Holland & Barrett hit you up with the price point, right? Because it's like it's buy one and then get the next one for a penny. It's like, who wouldn't go and buy the chocolate hazelnuts for a penny? You know what I mean?
By the way, when I was working there, I didn't realize it. I was like, how the hell do you guys make money? Because I was thinking, I'm from like an online world, right? So like, we look online, we're like, oh yeah, Intime supplements, we've got this deal, that deal, etc. And I was like, how the hell do Holland & Barrett make money? But then every month there's a different promotion. So it would be like buy one, get one free. Then it would be buy one, get one half price. And it would just, that's how they hook you in basically. and people wouldn't realize it, but oh yeah, when's this going on? When's that going on? They just have a deal the whole year round. I didn't realize this until I worked, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is a bit nuts.
Yeah.
Because their whey protein was like really high on price compared to like just generally, like you go on Amazon and you go for like an Optimum Nutrition, it was like £19, and then you look at their one, it's like £29.99. You're thinking, you get still people buying it.
The mock-up is crazy.
Yeah.
On supplements, the mock-up is crazy.
Yeah, so obviously we joked around about the supplements there, but what's one that you live and die by right now? Not to say die by, but obviously just live by.
Nate?
For me, it's Support Max Neuro all day. The blend of all of like the stress reduction stuff that goes into like ashwagandha, lion's mane, P5P, phosphatidylserine, all these type of things, which you'll have no clue what that means, but effectively they're all agents that are either herbs or various different things that will help you deal with stress. Like it takes away like the whole anxious feeling that you get and leaves you a bit more calmer and mellow. So I really, really love that every single day, twice a day, one in the mornings after I've trained and then one in the evenings before bed. And it's just, it just sets your mood for the evening, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Why you?
I take, obviously now being in very high up north, vitamin D is super important. And I think we all know that from COVID as well, it being something that people should be taking. And I take an omega-3 oil. So I don't do the tabs, I actually take the oil. And I take like a really good multi. And then I do take some ashwagandha as well, but I don't do that consistently. It's more like an ad hoc thing. I have some B complex as well, which is like an ad hoc thing where I do every now and then. But yeah, that's about it.
I go for Vit D. It's kind of staple mine. Support Max Neuro. I think Nate introduced me. When did you introduce me to this, Nate? Like, was it India or what? 2019? Can you hear me?
Sorry, my internet's gone. What did you say?
I was saying, Joe, when did you introduce me to Support Max Neuro?
Yeah, it introduced it into maybe early 2019 when we took on those heaps amount of clients and we needed it to relax.
Yeah, true. I think that was, and I've taken it since then, to be honest. Like I've always bought it and I've loved it, obviously in the evenings for myself. For what Nathan mentioned as well, just the calming nature of the supplement. Maybe it's placebo, I don't know, but I just find it's really, really good. Ashwagandha sometimes post workout because I've got it separately, and that can work out quite nicely as well. But none of us mentioned whey protein at all.
No, I lie for that. I have like a pea and oats protein in my porridge every morning, so I guess I take protein as well. So yeah, I do take protein basically.
Yeah, we completely just missed that, didn't we? We were just like, yeah.
But I don't necessarily, because it's like part of my meal. I don't see it as like a supplement, but it's a supplement. Yeah, so but I can't have dairy, so I stay away from that. So I found one that's really nice. And
is that vegan protein
yes,
powder?
it's a pea and oats mix, and it's just really tasty. So yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Nate? What's your top 5 or top 2, top 3 protein powders? Yep.
I don't know, because they're all they all have different. If you want cheap and nasty or cheap and tasty, then you can always go down the route of like a USN or whatnot, that you get like a kilo tub in a chocolate brownie from Holland and Barrett's or something like that. But like if you want more quality, then I think Dymatize is fantastic. Any type of the ones, they have a multitude of flavors, and I like this one's a bit random, but I do like Awesome Supplements vegan salted caramel.
Overrated.
Yeah, I think it's great for vegan. It's the best vegan tasting shit that there is.
Yeah,
and that's saying something for vegan stuff. But then also on the other side, I like the beef protein from bulk powders. Gotta play both ends of the spectrum there. Not vegan, son. Double down on the beef.
As soon as I told him can't be having vegan protein powder, he goes and buys his beef protein powder instead. I mean, they're actually quite good. Awesome Supplements I've tried. I like it, but also I need to give it more time, if that makes sense. Like I've only had it a couple of times and then I've kind of been like very judgmental about it. So apologies to any awesome supplement listeners potentially, or users. And they're just looking at us like, oh my God, why? But what is the best like vegan protein powder out there, you reckon? Obviously, let's take away awesome. If someone's vegan out there wants to get into it, but they're like, I don't want to get awesome supplements. Is there any other ones you've tried in the past and you're like, wow, actually that's really nice and tasty? I've tried pea protein, but I don't like the taste. I know you're using it right now. So and you probably have more kind of experience with this.
I should just get affiliates for this, but there is a Swedish brand called Better You.
Better
and
You,
it's
okay.
actually really nice. I've tried most of their flavors and they're really just subtle and nice. So I couldn't recommend them high enough. I've tried different kinds of pea proteins. They're not necessarily the nicest thing to like enjoy, but this one is really nice, mild. Yeah, it works great in a porridge. It works great as a shake. Yeah, so Better You, if anyone out there wants to look it up.
Nay, I'm guessing you've not used anything apart from awesome supplements, right?
Not we used one back in the day, vegan one. I don't know where it was from.
Sun Warrior.
Nah, I'd never touched that with a life because everyone that tastes it always just tells, don't touch it.
That was something I used to take. It's just, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you want to kind of not gag when you take something. That's like it's my criteria for taking anything. If it makes me gag, it's just not going to go down very well. So I just need to. Nate.
Yeah. Nate's smiling right now.
He's got a pun coming at me. Just go for it.
Yeah, you dug your stuff there, didn't you?
Is that his pet name, Sun Warrior?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I lost my plot now. Anyway, I don't touch that shit.
One time the Sun Warrior went down too far and I gagged and now I don't take it again.
How do you have your protein though? Is it through oats with you mix it up or you just drink it?
It depends. I mean, I usually, because I like to obviously have protein in every meal, and I just find that really enjoy having porridge at the moment. So it's just to bring up that balance between the macros, really. So I just have a nice, like a fibery oats that's gluten-free. Surprise. And I just put 2 scoops of that in, and I'll have some goji berries, sometimes some nice berries, and then I put some coconut flakes on top. So I like have that nice little balanced meal. Really just sets me up for a long
I thought you said goji berries for a minute.
Goji. What's it called? Goji berries. Goji. I don't know what you say in English.
Goji, yeah. Goji berries.
Goji
Goji berries.
I've been in Sweden for too long. Got to come back. So
you'd have loved Holland Barrett, to be honest. That's like top tier supplements,
no,
top tier foods.
I was I was regular. You know, I would stock up there. Actually, yeah. No, like I once bought a flaxseed oil and I thought that was going to be the healthiest thing as well. That was one of those things. I tried it and I gagged and I didn't take it again. And it was really expensive, I remember. So yeah,
it's like $6.99, right? For like 500 ml, I think.
I can't remember.
People will still buy it. I remember it.
Yeah.
Like, it would fascinate me to look at that psychology of like, you know, obviously we're on topic of supplements here, but the psychology of supplements and how people buy into like a product which could be this small, thinking it's going to be life-changing, if that makes sense. It's always fascinating. Obviously we're joking around supplements right now, but reality is like it's a $1 billion industry right now, and a lot of people obviously do get, I want to say, conned into it. Again, you can call it conned, but they do buy into it a lot more than, again, I remember obviously 2017. I don't know what it looks like now, but I mentioned previously stories about like, you know, little girls coming in and wanting like skinny teas and thinking, you know, because their favorite IG model's done it. So I think, you know, in terms of supplements, what's the worst things you've seen with supplements from like a client perspective when you're thinking, wow, okay, they've been taking this before in the past?
I think the fat burners are one of the worst things. When people have been taking it for so long without knowing what it actually does to you long term. That's the one that I found. I used to have clients on the gym floor and they can't really lose weight because they're just so fucked adrenally, and then you try to push them past the limit, which they don't really have anymore. So it's like some supplements they could work short term, but if you go on something long term, you might do some damage to you. And that's the one thing that I've seen is, yeah, angers me in a way, I guess, because there's lack of knowledge or ignorance or laziness for some people as well, thinking that if I take this magic pill, it's going to save me from eating whatever I want because it's a fat burner. And it doesn't really work that way, taking fat burners, which I guess we could go down that route as well, talking about them, what they actually do and how they work. So.
Yeah, I think there's no real one supplement that gives me that like thing. It's more like it's the psychology as you mentioned behind it. It's the if I take this, then I will, and that's the crux of it really. You can put anything like I will go and buy a YSL bag, and then I will feel like X, or I will. You're putting a lot of your hopes and dreams, or a lot of your future self within a certain product or a certain thing, so therefore you buy into it. And that's what it's like when I take this apple cider vinegar, I will start to lose weight, or I will start to feel healthier, or whatever it is. But they're putting a lot of pressure on that supplement doing the job that they actually need to do for themselves, which it doesn't come from the actual thing, it comes from the process that it takes to get there. But I think that in terms of fat burners, the reality is that if they're not banned or illegal, then they don't work the way that you think they do. Now, there are some that you can get on the black market or from people that do steroids, is that they do work. Ephedrine, clenbuterol, DMP or DPN or whatever it's called, will work massively. They do, fundamentally create fat loss in ways. But the stuff that you can get from Holland & Barrett's or the stuff that you can create, from any type of legit supplement company that will sell them, it's all based around caffeine. That's all it is. Caffeine and green tea. What they do is that they call it fat burning is because what they make you do is that they jack you up on energy so that you burn more NEAT, which is you walk around more, you shake more, or you're able to do more exercise because you have high levels of caffeine and green tea inside you, which then give you that excitability to go and do more. And it's not actually the fat burner that does the fat loss. It's actually what happens after you take the fat burner, that happens to the fat loss. So if you take a fat burner and then walk or run another extra hour a day, it's not the fat burner that worked, it's the extra hour of running a day that you were able to do because you were jacked off your tits on caffeine. And that's how the fat burners work, but they get around it in terms of the legalities of it by saying it's a fat burner, by presenting the research on green tea and saying this has proposed benefits of fat loss and caffeine has proposed benefits of fat loss, which they do because they excite you and energize you enough to make you move more, which gives you more fat loss. So that's how they get around it, by being legit. But the same thing is that you can only, with caffeine in your adrenals, you can only go so far before tanking them out. Like we have we have a really good adaptation to caffeine and any type of that type of tolerance. So therefore, when you take 400 milligrams of caffeine in 2 to 3 weeks' time, that 400 milligrams of caffeine will feel like nothing to you, and therefore you can dose higher and higher and higher. But there will be a ceiling to that. So then at the point you're just slamming down. We've done a diet. So I was running off like 6 to 8 coffees a day in the last end of like one of my first ever preps, and I couldn't feel a thing. And they were like double shots of espresso. And I was still getting to bed at 9:30 because I was so tired. But you get in that perpetual cycle of having to take 6 to 8 espressos to feel a certain way. But then when you then come out of the other end of like not actually being receptive to them, they're just there and they're propping you up, and then you set yourself up for a fall.
Yeah,
I think when I say psychology as well, it's the people listening to this who may be exploring fat loss, most likely. But also, I remember when they would come in, it would always be the same type of people, right? Who've gone through fat loss previously, but it's always been through a shortcut version. It's never been done in a way, okay, let me get in a caloric deficit. It's always been, well, it is a caloric deficit at the end of the day, but it's very, I'm just going to cut all my carbs out for 2 weeks and I'm going to do this way. And they do the same thing. It's always the same situation, which is I'm going to do this and then I'm going to supplement it with this, whatever it is, whether it's what Nate mentioned, green tea, or it'll be, caffeine, but it will never be, obviously they'll always be slightly together. So they're just watered down versions basically. And then people always think this is like the key towards it. So I think if people I know people have gone through their own stories of, they're using supplements and thinking that is going to be it for them. I think our advice to you to this day would be like, firstly, remember this, it's $1 billion industry and it's not the be all and end all. Don't get me wrong, supplements can work to a large extent, but again, there are a handful of supplements in my opinion that can work more than anything else. And I think it's just knowing, okay, like this isn't going to work for me long term, because you got to think about it. Are you going to be buying this supplement now for the rest of your life, or every month or so? You just don't want to do that, right? So a lot of them also come in with that mentality of like, I'm only going to use this for about 6 weeks and then I will be in the best shape of my life. So it's what, trying to find that X, but does it actually work in the long term? Which is, it's harsh, but I don't know if it's only getting worse right now. What's your thoughts? Do you think that it's getting worse now, or do you think there's been a better trend? I mean, we obviously saw that lady who posted about like ketones and stuff, but what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's hard to know because I don't follow. Like I will unfollow people that I don't believe in, which then makes me biased to what I believe in, right? So it's kind of like that cognitive bias. But I'm sure it's loads. Like I see all of these like keto accounts doing things all the time, and like you see the slimming world is still huge out there. There's so much. So I just think it's still out there, and people are trying to look for answers, and they will find something that just speaks their language at some point, and then they will try it, and then we'll find that it's not sustainable long term, and therefore they will come back to the full circle and do it and find another solution, which is kind of what we talked about in the past, just with the whole thing about dieting. But I think the same goes for supplements as well, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take this, and then I realized that it actually doesn't change much. But just on the topic of psychology, though, it can work to the other way around. It can be a positive thing as well, because if you take something, I would just say, for example, like you start taking something like a fish oil, which we know has lots of benefits of taking fish oil. That itself might spur you down the fact of going, oh, I'm actually taking a little bit better care of myself. So what else am I going to do? Maybe I'm going to start doing my walks in the mornings. So it actually can have a positive ripple effect as well, taking supplements, which I think we shouldn't just neglect either, even though, so it goes both ways, right? So
yeah, I think, but I've seen it go obviously in the negative spiral, which is fat burners are number one. Even when I was on Holland & Barrett, I would like, let's push this fat burners, or let's push this one, because it is like the biggest seller. Like a vitamin D was also another good seller. So if you look at it, like I said, the opposite end of the spectrum is you can still get a really good supplement in Vit D, which people would want. And then you'd also get something that most people don't really need because they're not even in calorie deficit, was a fat burner, which didn't do much in reality.
Sexy, right? People want the sexy thing and the quick thing and the thing that's going to make them feel great straight away. So yeah, I think when it comes down to recommending supplements, it's usually the unsexy ones that are going to give you the long-term effects. So yeah, not to say that. Yeah,
it's that feeling you probably get from just buying it without even taking it, right? You just get a feeling of like, oh my god, this is going to change my life. So you necessarily go for it. But yeah, like you're right actually, because I'm not following too many people now either. Like even back then, I wasn't really following anyone that would promote the wrong thing, because you just naturally, I guess, as a trainer now and in this industry, we kind of shy away from that. We're like, okay, this person talking crap, let's just unfollow that, or I can't be associated with this, for example. So for me, my association was obviously when I was working at Holland & Barrett, like 3-4 years ago. That's when I kind of was like, oh wow, okay, this is still a rise in this trend. But even now it's hard to I can't say like if it is or it's not. Like I don't know what the rise is, apart from like obviously what happens with fitness is if someone is doing something really wrong, it gets shared everywhere, right? So I don't see too much of that right now versus what I used to see maybe 4 years ago. Again, what about you, Nate? Do you see that or you don't?
I think there's going to be that. There's always going to be, it's always going to be there. I don't think it either goes higher or lower. I just think the boundaries for what is being pushed just moves, whether it's your social circle. Like even if you look at COVID, right? COVID's a perfect example of shit like this. Is that it's been a year since we've been in lockdown, and I've only really felt the ripple effects maybe now at 12 months on. It's the same with these type of things. Is that one friend could get amazing results using the keto thing. They tell 4 friends, that spreads. One of those friends tell another friends, and it goes like this, boom, 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 boom.
True,
and I think more as with anything, it's like the negatives of that. When you see someone in the flesh and you see that they've got results, you have that attraction to like, okay, this got them that result, right? So like the more we we see people showing the results of these short-term fixes, or they're only going to strengthen the bond of what people use them for, and then put it in an emotional state rather than an objective manner, which means that people are going to be more likely to take these things because they want to believe that it'll work. It's that confirmation bias. But then it takes more people who are speaking up about it, and it's like that constant battle between like the dark and the light, like in Harry Potter.
Voldemort.
Yeah, Voldemort
versus Harry Potter.
Yeah, or like Gandalf versus the White Witch, the White Wizard. It's like it's always going to be that battle, and one side has to kind of keep up its game, but the other side is always going to keep on coming because it's a behavioral trait rather than something that someone has created. This is a behavioral thing. We always search for the least path of resistance, which will then lend itself to easier paths of doing something that you don't really want to do, but you kind of think it'd be a good idea to do. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think just what will go somewhere is the people that have tried it will inevitably find a stumbling block, which is they'll get fat again, and then they will search for better answers. And through that process of searching for better answers, of failing, as we always say, K-Mac, is like they have to fail to find and realize the actual positives in their scenario, is that they then go and look for something that is probably on the other end of the spectrum, which is, I don't want a short-term fix, I want a long-term change. And at that point, you can hook people in, and providing that those people are not assholes as well, going to that side of the spectrum, where he's like, no, you don't need to, or whatever the other end of the spectrum is, maybe like, you don't need to diet, you're beautiful as you are, or whatever you are. If you're severely overweight and you have medical issues, maybe that's not a great idea to kind of preach. But if you find that mid ground of a long-term change, then that's a blessing, but you have to go through that. And that's what my opinion is. I don't mind people doing keto. I don't mind people doing these things. I hate that they do it, but it's at the moment that they fail that I'm there for them. That's what my opinion is.
Yeah, to be honest, you're not wrong there, because I've had several clients, even recently, where, you know, I asked them, have you tried anything in the past that I would need to know about? And they list, obviously, the diets, firstly. You know, we've mentioned in the past, right? These Atkins diets, paleos, etc. Then I also mentioned some supplements. But what Nathan mentioned is like, look, at the end of the day, we're going to be there to help you actually do this in a sustainable manner. Because most people, obviously, with supplements, it's like there is no reverse diet with a supplement. Effectively, you just go cold turkey with it, right? And then that's it. And then you use it whenever you need it again. Let's say, and the thing is, it's very intimate. So it's like, oh, let me go for again in 4 weeks' time, because I've gained 2 kilos or 2.5 kilos. So it's always that cycle that you go through for the whole year potentially, and you're buying that same supplement, thinking this is going to be the answer, but you realize, then you have to realize it, or you go through a failure period, which Nate mentioned. And I love this, which is sometimes you have to fail in order to go through a successful period effectively. So yeah, I think that's correct. I 100% agree with it, because purely, you know, in the next couple of years, like, we don't know what the next thing will be, and what people will follow. That's the thing. So even if they follow it, it's like, what is the long-term implication of that, right? So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, I remember seeing like skinny teas. Do people still use skinny teas and stuff like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever, all of them, like, nothing ever goes away. It just goes out of your periphery.
Yeah, you're right. We're probably not the best people to talk about it. We should get someone who uses skinny tea right now. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, supplements basically.
I mean, what would you then say? Like, would you recommend anything straight off the back, or what would you say to a new person, someone who isn't taking anything at the moment?
Yeah, I would always recommend VitD, potential omegas, and whey protein, just generally, because I realize not everyone takes whey protein, or if they do, it's not great quality whey protein. So I think most people go for obviously the cheapest option. So sometimes, you know, we look at supplements, you also go for the cheapest option, because it's like, oh wow, it's a deal. It's £13 for a kilo. Sounds amazing, but in reality, it's also causing them loads of, you know, GI distress and just loads of issues basically. So I would probably recommend max 3. I don't think I'd go for anything crazy. Depends. Some guys may go for like EAAs potentially for training, but very rare these days. I'm very much on just, you know, going for the minimum, and then later down the line we can maximize it, but we don't need to. So yeah, I think probably those 3 are max, but even sometimes omegas, not everyone's a big fan. So I don't always go for omegas, but probably at least whey protein and vitamin D. How about you?
Yeah, I would say a good multivitamin. Depending on the strength of that, I would have vitamin D pretty much for everyone. I don't think there's hardly anyone that doesn't need it. And I would say omegas, because most people just don't eat enough oily fish and they don't eat good quality fish. And that would be another thing. Like, it's better for you to not throw your money away on cheap shit and invest in a little bit better quality stuff that actually gonna give you the nutrients that you can absorb. The cheap stuff you rarely absorb, which is you just throwing away, even if it's small amounts of money, but that compounds over time. You're just wasting your money on nothing. Whereas it's better to invest in something that's a little bit more expensive, but it's actually going to give you the benefits that it says it will. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I go with probably five things that I recommend. Not for everybody, but like, look, if you've got a sleep issue and you're shit with your sleep habits, take Sleep Stack. If you're shit with your stress habits and you want to get better with your stress, take Support Max Neuro. If you just everyone takes creatine, you have to, unless you've got a kidney issue.
Get out. Yeah.
Vitamin D3 because no sun, and what's the other one? No, whey protein, but that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like a green powder. I like fiber. You just go on fiber for a minute. Fiber is fantastic. I'm double dosing fiber every day now.
Yeah, me too. It's making a huge impact, actually. So
if you look at what fiber is, like fiber, for most people that don't know, is that you have gut bacteria, which is live within your stomach, which is not supposed to scare you. It just is what it is. It's live bacteria. It grows, it manifests, it repeats, whatever it does. It produces a lot of hormones that go to your brain, actually. So it's actually a really good fucking thing. But that main operating fuel, like we have calories or energy, that main operating fuel of the bacteria is fiber. So that when you don't eat fiber, then potentially you should get your bacteria isn't able to thrive. And if you want to work with stuff that's in your body, you might as well work with it effectively as opposed to hampering it down. So, I definitely feel much better when I'm having more fiber. Upwards of 30 to 40 grams a day is probably advisable for most people. You'll get that if you eat vegetables each meal and you're not a penis with your food intake. If you make like carbs like bread, rice, potato, vegetables, all are absolutely fantastic for fiber, oats, whatever. I just take the fiber stuff because
you're a penis.
I'm a penis with my food. Also, I just I need more because of my digestive stuff that I've got going on right now. So I double down and then still eat about 30, 40 grams a day. So
what's your favorite greens powder?
Nutridyne. Basically, I don't know where it is. I want to find it. If anybody ever knows, this Nutridyne company or ones that like where we used to work, there's one called Chocolate Nutrients. They're all the same. White labeled company that I can't find anywhere on the internet, and basically this white labeled stuff, wherever it comes from, is just a beautiful God's gift of chocolate greens. And Emily can attest it. It's probably the best thing I've ever tasted. It's like cocoa powder in. It's got like 50 different vegetables and fruits. It's got fiber in there, and like it's the only thing that I've taken and then been able. My digestive system has been like literally like clockwork every day because of it. As opposed to like if I don't take it now, I'm still taking banging 30 grams of fiber and 2 sachets of fiber and I'm still not pooing every day. It's like just that stuff, whatever is in it is just making me great.
Yeah, and it works a treat when you're on a diet as well because it's so delicious. So
yeah.
If anyone knows, please let us know in a comment.
I mean, I'm using, I think Supplement Needs one. I think right now.
What flavor is it?
I think it's chocolate as well.
Is it cocoa like flavored or is it chocolate?
I think it's very chocolate-ish.
Okay.
So I'll give you a review anyway on IG today. I'll give you guys a TripAdvisor review for it.
And lastly, Nal, how was your pillow?
I still need to test it out.
What a pussy! I can't believe I bought it for you and you haven't even tried it yet.
I didn't get one.
I've got it.
That
Send it to
Sweden.
Yeah, I paid the shipping, innit?
Let me give a review first episode 17. You guys will have a pregnancy pillow review from me.
All right. Thank you guys for listening in. We'll be here same time next week.
Au revoir.
Truly, au revoir.